Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Hales and I make videos about the books that I'm reading. So this video is going to have just a little bit of overlap with my 10 before the end video, but this is going to be my November TBR, which I know that most months I say this, but I just can't believe that we are already in November and making November TBRs. So there are 3 books that I am planning to read this month. However, I do have a new TBR game that I am going to try to incorporate and like utilize for the first time this month, which is super exciting. So I will be drawing cards and trying to get those prompts to match what I hopefully will be able to put on my TBR in November. So for this new TBR game, I printed out these prompts. They are kind of tarot card-ish. These are tiny because I printed them out wrong, essentially. I think that I used the wrong PDF file. So they are very small. So I have put them in this, and I'm just going to kind of, move around, move my fingers around and pull one and see what we get. Okay. Um, so this one is a book that is set in a castle or palace. So I'm not sure. So I'm going to have to peruse the description of this book real quick. Okay, so I might be kind of using this to my advantage because this is one of the books that I wanted to get onto my November TBR. Now, it says takes place in a castle or palace, and I've read the first 75 pages of this book, and I soft DNF'd it when it came out because I was just not really into fantasy at the time and I was reading a lot more romance. But the main character is a prince of hell, so I would assume that at least part of it is going to take place in a castle or a palace. I know that the map in the book says that it's like house envy, house pride, that kind of thing. But they look very palacey. So, that being said, the first book on my November TBR is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I started this when it came out. I don't even really remember when that was, but I had a book box version of it. Okay, October of 2020. So I ordered this 5 years ago. Actually, I had to have ordered it before then because I had this like the week it came out. So over 5 years ago, and I DNF'd it almost as long ago. But it wasn't that I didn't want to read it. It was just that that was I had Kindle Unlimited at the time and I was reading romance on my phone because I didn't even have a Kindle yet. So I did end up DNFing, especially because it was like right after that I got into like really reading contemporary romance, and I was reading physically, which I am doing again, but I was not doing for a long time. So I am going to select another prompt. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to select 3 because of how many books I am hoping to have on my November TBR, and because I have another technically TBR game that I need to include as well that is not like it's part of a year-long readathon, and I have read-alongs that I am participating in. So we're going to go with whatever this one is. And I need to figure out a better way to draw these. But this one is a book with a character who is a librarian. And I thought of a book right away, but I've read it and I don't currently have any plan to reread it. So we're going to figure this one out. This is another one that I'm probably twisting to my advantage a little bit, but it just says a book with a character who is a librarian. It doesn't say that it has to be the main character. So I'm going to be reading Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. I have read this before, but it has probably been a decade, and I have wanted to reread it, and I've put it on TBRs in the past and then never finished it. I was listening to the audiobook at one point, but I never finished it, and I have really wanted to reread the entire series lately. So that is the second book on my TBR, and the only reason I'm not holding it is because it is over here behind like a tote box and all of my stuff for taking Bookstagram pictures, because I am still reorganizing this library, which has become such a hassle. I ordered new shelves, like insertable new shelves. And unless I drill holes myself, I actually cannot use them. So I have to take them all back, which is very frustrating. But it is what it is. And it's going to have to be fine because I cannot be frustrated over this any longer. So I am going to pick one more. I still really don't know if I should like split these up into tiny decks and figure something out like that, because at this point I'm just like running my fingers until I locate something like this. And I don't know that that's going to work. Okay. The third one is a book with a character who is an athlete. All right. And I dropped it. Oh, this is perfect. Okay. This is perfect because another book on my TBR for November is Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. Now, I will probably not be reading this giant paperback. I don't know why it needed to be this big. I mean, I guess I kind of do, because the book itself is this thick and it's giant, and the words are so small. This is huge. I don't even want to think about how many words this is. But this is the second Boys of Tommen book, and oh my gosh, it is gorgeous with the light shining on it. Oh my goodness. But I finished Binding 13 maybe 2 months ago, and I am slowly working through Keeping 13. Binding 13 was very emotional, and I know that the series basically on that front just gets worse. So I'm also anticipating a storyline that I am not excited for, which is that it's going to be so annoying. And I mean, annoying, yes, but it's going to piss me off. And it already kind of is, because there is a plot line with the older brother who left, and he comes back and he's trying to make all these decisions, and it's just going to frustrate me to no end. And I've read like 10 pages at a time because he makes me so mad. And actually, I think that I might have overlap for 3 videos for this, because the next book that I'm going to be talking about is part of Romantasy Bingo, which is a year-long readathon hosted by Cassidy over at Covers with Cassidy. And at this point, I keep looking at this like, okay, cool. I'm overwhelmed and I don't know where to start. But it's a year-long readathon, and my goal is to fill out the entire board and not just hit bingo. And then, depending on if I do that early enough, I would like to start again. Bit of an overachiever considering that I have read 24 books this year, which is my lowest number in 7 years, I think. So I am really setting the bar high, and I will temper my expectations when it comes to that. However, that said, the Romantasy Bingo prompt that I am putting on my November TBR is going to be weapon on the cover. It is on the bottom row, right over there. And I will be rereading Scream for Us by Molly Doyle. I considered reading this on Halloween, but I am going to a concert. So that's just really not going to be feasible. Uh would love to, but it's not going to happen. So I want to reread it anyway because I just found a physical copy, and I don't think that I could read it like tomorrow or Thursday. Tomorrow is Thursday. I don't think that I could read it tomorrow in general because I have some other stuff that I need to get done, but it's fine. We will get to it hopefully in November. And then luckily, I was able to fit 2 out of the 3 books on my TBR using the prompts, which is fantastic. The other book that I want to read in November, probably the last one that I will be doing for this TBR, is Her Soul for Revenge by Harley LaRue. I am within 100 pages of being done with Her Soul to Take, and I am obsessed. I am filming a vlog for it, and I keep forgetting to actually like update on my reading progress and how I'm enjoying it. But I am doing that, and I am obsessed, and I cannot wait for books 2 and 3 because those, I think, dare I say, I think I'm going to like them more than Her Soul to Take because, especially with Soul of a Witch, Everly so far is my favorite character. She is first mentioned on page 6, and I immediately like highlighted her entrance, put a tab on the page, and I believe that my annotation by like the first sentence about her was, I think I'm going to love her. And I have been correct so far. So I am very excited to continue on with this series. Now, if I finish Her Soul for Revenge next month, I will probably immediately begin Soul of a Witch. I'm not going to make myself wait so that I can put it on December's TBR and like have a surefire book that I'm going to finish. But it will probably somewhere end up on my romantasy bingo, even though it's not really romantasy, it is a fantasy. However, I do know what romantasy bingo square I would use for it. And I think it is such an easy one that I can get away with it. Um, because honestly, to me, paranormal falls under fantasy. So I don't separate them out. I don't consider them to be 2 separate things from each other. I feel like to me, paranormal is just a subgenre within fantasy. Um, I actually posed that question recently and had somebody who said the same thing, and I had somebody else who said, no, paranormal and fantasy are separate. But I'm the one reading them, so I'm going to go ahead and say that I prefer to call paranormal under the umbrella of fantasy. But that is it for my November TBR. Let me know in the comments what you're planning on reading because honestly, for Romantasy Bingo, I'm going to need some ideas. And I will have a video that is just my Romantasy Bingo TBR. That'll be coming probably the end of November. So look out for that. and I will see you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff you know how to do. Bye!